Hey everybody, this is Christian DeGennaro. You're listening to God Spice with Greg and Kirti.
Welcome to Got Spice.
I'm Kirti.
And I am the Gregory. We're excited to get today's show kicked off with real people, real stories, and absolute real chaos.
And speaking of chaos, we are so excited to introduce a longtime friend, but he's more than a friend. He's a musician, a spectacular musician, I should say so.
A bandmate.
Right? And he's also a marketing technology expert. But come on, all of us have a geeky side. But most importantly, why he's here today is because, well, he's a father, a husband, a friend, and he's joining us on a really important topic today, right, Greg?
Absolutely. And this topic that we're going to cover today, it's called Blend It Like It's Hot. Thank you for being on our show.
Thank you, guys.
And you're our first guest.
Wow, what do I do with that honor? I'm so touched. Thank you.
I mean, thank you. Thank you for taking this chance.
Well, I mean, the topic of the show, while it might be blended like it's hot, it's really chaos, apparently. So thank you for thinking of me.
It can be. It can be.
I appreciate that.
You're quite welcome.
So,
Yes.
let me explain where this topic kind of really was born out of. We recently have been through our own experiences as two individuals coming from former relationships, and we have a child from each relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been, well, let's just say interesting, to say the least, to bring these very distinct experiences, culture, etc., together. And if anyone has not noticed, I'm clearly brown-tacular and Indian. And I am
what they call spectacular.
And he is spectacularly Catholic and Italian. So,
I thought I was a recovering Catholic.
I think you might be. We'll talk about that.
Is there any other kind?
As far as I'm not quite sure.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
we're there.
We're there. Absolutely.
So this is a really serious topic, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the reason that we felt it was just so important to make this our first episode is we've been through a lot. It's not easy. Nobody really talks about it, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's my question for both of you. In 2015, what percentage of kids were a part of a blended family? Christian, how many do you think? What percentage of the U.S. population?
I mean, you've got to look at the divorce rate and then look at that remarriage rate within the divorce rate. I don't know, 25%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm going to say at 2015, I'm going to put out there 63%.
Wow.
Of the divorce population?
No, the divorce of any blended family, because you could become a blended family from different scenarios.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Some more morbid than
the
others.
The broadest definition of blended family, whether you're getting together with your own kids or you're getting together, you have one kid or whatever that situation may be, according to Pew Research, 16% of the U.S.
Oh, so I was close. 63.
So Christian wins. Ding, ding, ding.
Didn't you say,
I won.
Didn't you say 63?
I think you need the sound effect right now, Greg.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could have swore you
Winner.
said 63.
Winner. Okay.
How is that possible when
Let's
50%
fast forward.
of
Current day.
Okay.
Current day. What percentage of the U.S. population has kids in a blended family situation?
I'd bump that up to 50 or 60%.
63.
60%. Again, our guest wins.
I was not fed
Christian,
this information beforehand.
You are on a roll, and I did not.
That's our job
For
as hosts, is to make our guests feel important and make them look good.
Thank you.
It's just okay.
It's kind of like
it's
when
okay.
you play. It's kind of
a little off.
Well, it's kind of like when you play golf with your boss. You really can't beat them. You have to let them win, even if they're horrible.
Okay, so now I want to know how you define blended family. What is that? What is that? What does it mean to you? Because it's very personal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. And I think, obviously we all have our own definitions of what that is. But for me, it's really this fantastic blend of different schedules, different personalities, different cultures, and different levels of patience. Because I think really that's the most important thing, right? So we all are maybe not on the same page with how patient we can be with each other when there's certain, different kids in the mix and different families. But that's my definition of it. Really, it's this blend of like, what does your day to day look like, right? What does the what do you want your life to be like? What do holidays look like? What do these family moments look like, and how do you share them with this?
Do you agree? Sometimes the word holidays is an ugly word.
Yeah, I mean, it's a blended or not. Nobody really likes them, right?
Sure.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, until until you start having
I'm not.
until you
I
start
love
having children.
holidays. I absolutely love holidays.
But I think the stress of making them so perfect
I concur.
for your kids
I think also
is hard.
what makes holidays challenging is the expectations that each individual has, right? And we're defining maybe what is a holiday and what those expectations are, from food to experience, even the way that people dress, to be quite frank. People have different expectations, right? So I think it's hard sometimes to get everyone on the same page with the extended family, let alone a new blended family that has come together, and especially if there's different cultures that have come together.
Well, if you have a big enough family, you know, I'm one of four, you're going to get arguments about, you know, what side dish to serve, right? So, you know, it's a crazy thing anyway.
So speaking of food being served, kids, especially when they're small or born into these situations, I mean, how do you manage the blending of children from different, you know, environments, and how do you bring them together?
I manage it with Casamigos.
Casamigos is not a sponsor yet.
Yes.
Of God's Spice.
It's kind of like, that reminds me of that scene from Christmas Vacation when Clark has this breakdown and he goes to his dad. Dad, how did you like handle this? Like growing up, he's like, I had a lot of help from Jack Daniels.
Yep. But I think really it's keeping lines of communication open with all parties, like over communicate, right? I can't stress how important that has been, because I haven't been so good at it historically, right? So I could have solved a lot of problems or prevented a lot of problems by being more communicative with not only my, you know, existing family unit, but also those around me, right? Whether that be my ex-wife or my own parents, right? Like that's really, I think, crucial. And I think we all need to do, I mean, I'm still working on it, right? Still trying to get better.
I think you bring up a really good point. Communication seems easy, right? Like it seems like, why not just say it? Why not just talk about it? Why not ask it? But to have the courage to have those conversations, as it seems so simple, like, why can't I ask for this to be done in a different way, different time, or different place? And sometimes asking those basic things, they could be so daunting.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, that's what breaks up quite a few relationships, right? Is people store that almost that negative energy, and then it just kind of builds up over time, and then you kind of can't recover from it. But I think communication is obviously one of the, especially when bringing, I think, a blended family together, is that communication between the two partners has to be open. So really, what I'd like to delve into is, what are your conversations like, and how do you, in your, you know, bringing the family together, in your unique situation, because you didn't have, you know, children on either side. It's, you had your previous two children, and then you and Irene have had two children themselves. How do you have those tough conversations, and what are they like, and how do you really come together?
I mean, it's hard, right? And, you know, they are difficult, and I think you just have to get in front of it and, you know, say, hey, look, like this event is happening on this weekend. We had plans, but, you know, this tournament or this event, and this is a very real story. This lacrosse tournament is very important to my twins. They're really good at it. They're getting on. They're moving forward in this tournament. We have to be there to support and drive all around, you know, the Northeast with gear in our trunk doing it. And I think, you know, if you made the right decision to marry someone, they would be like, look, absolutely. Like, this is what it's about. This is family. This is what we decided to do together. So, you know, that's what we do, is try to, well, actually, I think it's also like a little bit of evening it out, right? Like, you know, quid pro quo, right? It's like, we did this for you. Like, now you got to step up and help me with this, right? With the younger two. The trick there is to maybe involve, you know, the older two from my first marriage and make them feel part of it.
Could you tell us a little bit about that? Like, we obviously only have one from each of our previous lives, and we're lucky the girls are similar in age, 2 years apart.
That makes it easier.
Doesn't make it necessarily like black and white easy. There's always gray in life, in terms of any, you know, issues that might arise. But what is it like for you to have these two little new babies? And then how do your older girls feel about it? Well, how do you manage that?
Yeah, well, we've given the older two a sense of responsibility with the younger two. That might be, you know, babysitting and, you know, giving them a reward for doing that, even though you might argue that you shouldn't because they're siblings. But I think when they're that far apart and the other two are doing their own things, you want to make them feel, I think, invested in and their caretaking, and that's worked. I think the other thing is with the age gaps, they're doing totally different things at totally different times. And then there's the little guy still takes a nap, right? So that throws a monkey wrench into wanting to go to the beach or the pool or do something all day, right? So it's really stressful. But I think making those two, the older ones, feel invested in the upbringing of the younger two has really helped. And it's brought everyone closer together.
These are really great tips. And I think...
Is he too big for Bjorn, though? Is he too big for Bjorn yet?
Yeah.
Because, I was going to say, because while he's sleeping, just throw him in the Bjorn and then take him to the beach.
Well, the problem, I mean, we could like talk
every
about
child is different.
like parenting, baby parenting tips all day long. I mean, this guy only sleeps in a crib. So he's torturous that way. But what are you going to do?
Well,
so he's going to be on MTV Cribs at one day?
Torturous. He will.
Awesome.
So 2 to 3 tips that you would share with other couples and people in relationships where they are facing this idea of, I've got baggage, I don't got baggage, I'm going to have new baggage, and I'm bringing it all together. How do you manage the conveyor belt?
So, yeah, it really is. You just wonder what's at the end of it. I think a really good piece of advice is to make that step parent. Right, it's a very like delicate situation, right? Do they treat you just like, are they a parent? Are they a step parent? Are they a confidant? Are they an adversary? What is that person? So we've been very, I think, successful in defining that, my wife is a parent that has, a fair amount of parenting responsibility and disciplining responsibility. In my case, she's known these kids for 10 years. So it's a little different than like a new situation. So that makes it easy where, stepmom might raise her voice and discipline, but, the girls are like, well, she's kind of got street cred. She's been here for 10 years.
Right? And she knows all the kids' idiosyncrasies.
And
she knows the personality dynamic.
Right.
She knows how to cater to that.
It's not like, some other situations, not yours, but others where, step parents just yelling all the time and has no interest or nothing invested
like the Disney
in these kids. Right. And that happens a lot.
I was thinking more like No More Wire Hangers.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That was from Mommy Dearest. Is the name of the movie.
Okay.
Mommy Dearest.
Nice.
Yes. Is the name of that movie.
The other tips are, I think, we've said it before, communication, patience, alcohol, but I think don't ever forget why you got in your relationship, why you got married, and make time for yourselves. I know it's like every self-help book is going to tell you that, but nobody does it.
So you always bring it back to like that North Star almost.
That's right.
What the love and the unity is about. And, what's interesting is, it's funny, Kirti and I were recently chatting with a professional recently about children, and they were saying people sometimes have children because they want to bring happiness into their life. Yeah. And there's articles, and the doctor was saying, well, it's kind of proven that children do not bring happiness into your life, that you have to find your own fulfillment within and what that happiness is.
Right.
And so what you're talking about almost makes me think about that it's kind of returning to what is the happiness that brought you together and as long as that unit is solid, then you can deal with these external factors, which could be the family, and especially a family that is blended when the children are going back to, our exes, we'll just say, they're living potentially a different life, and then they're coming, to us during those other periods of time, and there's almost this reacclimation period sometimes I think that needs to take place for them to kind of settle back in. Yeah,
and I think just remember, the two of you, dimly lit restaurant, good food, good laughs, good company. That's why you got into this whole thing in the first place.
Right.
So
there might have been
just
some
remember
wings.
that.
There might have been
some wings.
I actually remember when you actually introduced all the guys to Irina. You had brought us all together to that joint. Was it the Ainsworth on 25th Street? I think it was.
Yeah,
was it your birthday?
It was
or her birthday.
It was
her birthday, right? Yeah, it was a birthday.
I think it was in my 30s.
Yeah, and so you wanted us to meet Irina. And
I
remember the day that
right?
I had met her. Yeah.
I think that's important. You want support of your friends. You always wanted it, but in a situation where you have kids and you're bringing someone into that, it's very important for your friends, to support you and say, hey, I do think this is a good idea, or if it's not, I don't. you want to hear it either way.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that in mind, which is a good segue, I would say, into spice, right? Because you kind of brought it back almost to what is that spice that kind of brings you and your partner together. So, tell us, how do you define spice in your life? And, what is it to you? Because spice is something different to everyone.
Right.
What is spice?
So let me just first say that spice, when I met my wife, she was the kind of woman that thought pink Himalayan salt was spicy. Okay? So like, wow, that's really hot.
You realize
It's
that's
salty.
like blasphemy
That's really
for
hot.
me.
Right?
It's actually saltier than normal salt, than like halite rock salt.
But what's interesting, over time, we graduated to like freshly ground black pepper, right?
Mm.
Ooh.
Well, maybe a mild hot wing, mild hot wing.
Okay.
A mild wing.
Yeah, but a buffalo. Like
So
wing?
so really,
Okay.
there's nothing. There's nothing that fills my heart more than now if we are making pasta or go out and she'll ask for crushed red pepper. I mean,
Or like a Fra Diablo.
Like, oh
I'm just completed.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'll go back to that. Two of you, dimly lit restaurant, good food, good company in terms of spice, right? Because you've got to have that passion. You've got to remember that, oh my God, we do love each other. We do like each other. We enjoy each other's company. This is why we did this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or else if you don't, it'll get lost.
So what is it? What is your spice?
From a culinary perspective?
From whatever perspective that you would like to give us, but I would say more about like the relationship with your partner's spice and
Like
what is that chemical reaction?
I'm not really going to divulge that right now.
If you asked me what I think our spice is, I think frankly, it comes down to enjoying food together, like good food. We both love good food. We also love music. Like it keeps us connected. It's the creative side of us. And then I'm going to sound really dorky, but I think our spice is our intellectual connection.
We definitely have an intellectual connection.
And by the way, that doesn't mean we agree on everything. We debate about everything.
I don't have an intellectual connection. She's far too superior. So I just, I'm just around for the jokes.
That is not true. I've known you for quite some time,
think,
and you are
quite
an intelligent individual.
Thank you, Greg. I think the Greg.
And talented. You're quite talented too.
Technology. I don't know stupid people in technology, dude.
Yes.
Oh, I do.
Yes.
But I think that's really what the spice is. It's talking. It's having interesting conversations to go, you know what? And actually, it's like really actually admiring the qualities in that person that you yourself don't have, right? There are some things that I sit back and I'm absolutely in awe of what this woman can do. And I think she probably thinks I'm moderately okay at some things.
Well, it's a yin and yang. It's a partnership, right? That comes together. It's
so that's it for us. It's really like, all the things that each other can't do, we kind of balance each other out. So maybe that's the spice.
I'm wondering, I'm going to deduce it to a word. We're talking about obviously all different ways a relationship can be kind of spicy intellectually and all these different pieces. But I'm going to deduce it down to one word that's important to me. I think it's effort. It's putting in the effort to, like, so as we were talking earlier, our intellectual.
Funny you said that. I was actually thinking about also trying to look nice for each other.
So that's exactly where I'm going with this. There's always an effort to look nice for each other, but then there's always an effort to educate one another and learn from each other. Like I'm always reading something interesting. Kirti's always reading something interesting. We're always kind of continually sharing and growing in our relation.
I don't know if I'm always reading something. I think I make up a lot of stuff.
I think that's true.
I think the Pew
statistics
stats were made up.
Yeah, they're absolutely.
I think you just wanted me to win. That's fine.
It's funny. Like when she said this was a Pew Research stat, I said, "Wait, we're sitting in a church pew."
That's right. Well, we went back to the altar boy conversation. But effort really is a very important word.
I think effort is key because it's hard to raise children. It's hard to raise a blended family. It's hard to manage the different cultures, and it's also hard to manage just the relationship that one has with their partner, right?
Yeah.
So it requires effort, and I think it appears that often in several situations, I'm not going to say or blame people, but I think sometimes that gets lost or put by the wayside is the effort, and then people do give up. Yeah. And that's what affects a relationship at the end of the day.
No, I completely agree.
Well, that's why there are divorces in this country.
Yes,
because
which is when skyrocketed.
You give up because you don't care enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, so that was beautiful and figurative, but let's be real, because we love food, and we just did make a fresh batch of hot sauce.
We did.
You did.
You eat what? What is your favorite food to eat, and what's an interesting way that people can explore this food?
I mean, I like every single version, style, interpretation, bastardization of pizza. I think it is the combination, and Greg, we've talked about this a lot, of three perfect ingredients, right? Flour, tomato, cheese at its core. And that is something special.
Well, Dijon makes great homemade pizza.
I think we're coming over.
I have.
The
It's
very
been a
first
while.
time I had
been
pizza
a
cooked
while.
on a grill
Yeah.
was at Dijon's house. We're not even talking
Yeah.
about on a pan. Just putting the dough just right on the grill itself.
Yeah.
Put it on
But
there.
like now that's a
flip
thing.
it.
That's a whole big thing.
It is a thing now. But
Taste making.
no solid surface. It was literally just right on the grates.
Sometimes
It was fantastic.
it
Absolutely
falls through the
fantastic.
grates, and you
Yeah.
gotta just pick it up.
You pick it up and do what you got to do.
That's awesome.
But that's
so
the thing.
growing up in Staten Island, I had a lot of great pizza. Like I would like to say I'm a pizza snob. So then what's your favorite pizza joint if you're not making it at home?
I'm gonna go to New Haven. I'm gonna go to Pepe's.
Pepe's?
Pepe's.
Oh,
Pepe's is a good
yes.
spot.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like Moderna, Pepe's. What were some of the old ones out there?
Sally's.
Sally's, that's it.
I know. I'm still a
So
fan
I was
of
a Pepe's
Denny's,
fan.
or Glenville Pizza is the proper
Glenville
name.
Pizza is
but,
good.
But yeah, but
Glenville
it's
pizza
Vinny's.
is okay.
It's better. It's more than okay.
But you see how we're having this discussion
Yes.
because there's so many different kinds.
Yeah, there's so many different.
There is
amazing.
a lot of different
Mhm.
types.
It's amazing. And I asked my wife who went to school in New Haven, I was like, how many times did you go to Frank Pepe's in 4 years? She's like, 4 times. I was like, a month? She's like, no, in 4 years. I was like,
No.
Uh-oh.
you are just
No.
awful. So
Was that a deal breaker almost at that point?
That's
it's too late.
It was too late.
she might have been studying too hard. Maybe she
I asked
didn't
I
know.
asked the question like last week. So
Yep.
it's too
At least she could have like added. Well, at least I'm putting pepperoncini on the pizza.
Yeah.
She's evolved. She's
She's
evolved.
involved.
She's evolved.
Well, look, this has been just so great to
Yeah,
spend
thanks, guys.
time
This
with
was fun.
you. And just you really shed light on the challenges that people face in a blended situation. I think being blended in any kind of context is very personal and it's contextual. And that what I heard from you most clearly is communication. Communication is just so foundational to any other points of success in
And
being
I'm
able to
saying
bring
that
all these
I'm
things
saying that a
together.
lot because I haven't been so good at it in the past, right?
But
So I've
I
learned-
think a lot of us
I've
aren't.
learned that. Yeah.
I agree with you on
Yeah.
that. And when you communicate, it means that you can actually be happier.
Mhm.
You can find a way to make everyone content.
Mhm.
And maybe, there's a little magic.
Magic? Did someone say magic?
Magic mushrooms. Magic mushrooms. It feels so good. Magic mushroom. Up in Maine. In the woods. Felt the leaves. They feel so good. Magic mushrooms. They feel so good.
Mushrooms.
Magic mushrooms. Yeah.
Incredible.